Morning! So it's Andy, the expedition hiker, and it's also day 5 of the Pilgrim's Way. So today we're walking from Tanners Hatch, the old youth hostel near Dorking, and we're going to head up to Box Hill and then walk along the ridgeline. Eventually we'll head up to Titsey Place. Now today there's quite a lot of things to see, a lot of scenic views and quite a bit of history as well, as we pass places like Reigate Fort, Pilgrims Fort, and then we'll head up, as I said, to Titsey Place, which is about 25 miles we're walking today, and we'll head up to a hotel next to the motorway tonight. So we best get cracking. Puffing and panting because we're going uphill, a steep hill, which is called Box Hill. I can't remember what day we're on now. Still on the Pilgrim's Way. We stayed at Tanners Hatch last night, the youth hostel and campground. I was camping. Today we're about 4 kilometres in and walking up towards Box Hill. So we're just reaching the summit of Box Hill near Dorking, and that's what we see in front, the town of Dorking. I believe it's a historical market town. So we're just passing the Brockham Hills. This used to be a large quarry for chalk and lime kilns, and we have one of the old lime kilns in front. Anyway, we continue along, and we can see over there on the horizon, that's where we're aiming for next. I believe that's called Coley Hill. And I've just noticed, I'm going to cross the landscape here. Dead in the centre of the picture now, there's a windmill just above the tree line of the first section, and before the horizon line there's a windmill with the sails still on it, not moving around today. Anyway, we're continuing along the Pilgrim's Way. So we're just passing Betchworth. Now for you film buffs out there, Betchworth Church of St Michael's was in the film 4 Weddings and a Funeral. From Box Hill, it's been very well signposted, the North Downs Way. I must admit that probably every 300 or 400 metres there's another signpost telling you to continue along the path. A lot better than it was towards the start near Farnham, where I was always checking the map to work out if I was on the right path, and Guildford was a bit of a problem as well. Anyway, making it easier. Hopefully it continues like this. Have you got your glasses to be able to read all that? Well, it continues on that side as well. Got to check the bike laws out. So the next place we're passing is the Saddle Knob. Take a that of how you like. So just behind all these trees is this saddle knob. Amusing name. There is a poem about it. If you're at the top of it, there's clear views down to the South Downs Way, but we're at the bottom. Soon we'll be walking up a Reigate Hill. I'm sure we'll see it from a different angle there. Where the Coley Hill mine used to be, in this gully. The Pilgrims Way. As we walk towards Reigate Hill, which is about a mile away, 1.5 kilometres, depending where you're from, on our left is Coley Hill, one of the high points of the area. Now at the top of the hill is a building which has a painted roof of the sky, and this used to be a place for a fountain for horses, but now it is a sitting place to enjoy the views. You should be able to see from the views, even on a not so clear day, views of the South Downs, another walking trail which heads down from Winchester to Eastbourne, one that I've done before. So we'll continue to Reigate and then up the hill, and then we'll get up to Gatton and Gatton Park before we head on towards Merstham, which is quite famous for, I believe they call it like a picture box or a chocolate box street. So we're heading that direction. That's in about 4 miles or 7 kilometres. Coley Hill, and towards its summit, although it's a bit higher than that, that's a false summit, just a brow. So if you may have noticed, it's raining now, which I was walking a good pace today, but the problem being is I've had to slow down a little bit, mainly because the ground is becoming wetter and slippier. Just having to slow down, I thought to watch my footing a little bit more. As we're on the Pilgrims Way now, and not the North Downs Way, the track isn't as well marked. The track is older than the North Downs Way, but like the North Downs Way, most of it is like crushed stone, where the Pilgrims Way, a lot of it's like muddy tracks. So that's what we're walking on at the moment. So we're just entering the outskirts of Reigate. Reigate has a lot of large houses. A lot of the people that work in London, which is, I think it's just about over 20 miles away, commute from this area. Obviously houses in London very expensive. I just swallowed a fly. So they move to Reigate, where they get more house for their money, and also generally get a garden around here. In fact, we've got one in front, which that's either a row of houses or one big single house. I guess it's one big house because the size of the chimney is almost as big as my house, and the way the veins got the Grim Reaper on it. Interesting plot. This is the type of trail and darkness path that the pilgrims would have walked along. It's not surprising why so many of the pilgrims were always drunk when they walked the trail, because they always said they needed Dutch courage, because there was thieves and vagabonds travelling the trails. A lot of pilgrims in the past were murdered along the route. Old tracks like this, quite nervous to walk down. Anyway, I'm a brave soul, so I'll carry on walking through it. So we've just reached the top of Reigate Hill, and in front of us is the Reigate Fort. It was built in 1898, but by 1907 the government decided that they didn't need it anymore, so it only had a span of 9 years, because they said that we had a great navy to protect our shores. So after that, a private owner purchased it, and now the National Trust taken it over as a national monument. So this was part of the London Defence Line. You can see we're all along the defence line. The good old pickaxe. When I was in the army, we had to carry a pickaxe handle when we were at basic training. Before they allowed us to have a rifle for guard, we just carried a stick. We would be able to knock the bullets away with our stick, our pickaxe handle. So that's the fort. There's a big ditch down there, probably to protect the fort, and then that's looking over where we've just come from. It looks like most of the buildings are underground, and that central section was probably an artillery position or anti-aircraft. Direct below me is probably the accommodation, the barracks. Obviously this is the walkway down to it, so we're going to have a quick look at that. And as we can see, this is where, let's say, the barracks accommodation or ammunition stores, and these look like artillery battery location. So this is the inside of the magazine. So this is the second casement. As you can see, it's being filled in. Anyway, we're going to head back onto the Pilgrims Way. Now we're aiming for Gatton Park, and this being Fort Lodge, and that one is East Lodge Cottage. And these would have been with the fort keepers, who were the senior officers of the fort. They would have worked in the magazine as being the most secure location and getting the ammunition out for the artillery. I did think this was a bit of nice green grass, but looking at further inspection, that is water with a green algae on top. Just looking over from Reigate Hill, the opposite direction, in a northerly direction. So I believe you can see London from the top of Reigate Hill on a clear day. Obviously it's not a clear day, so it's raining. But in front of me, I've got raspberries and blackcurrants, so we might be having a bit of vitamin C now. There's some big horses around here. That's about 3.5 feet tall. Or is it a giraffe? For mounting a giraffe. Looking south, directly in front of us, on the horizon, or a little bit beyond, 30 miles away, is Brighton. Now, in front of me is, although it's covered by rain, it's not easy to see. Tells you the locations of different places. We're on Gatton Park now. Just read that Lancelot Capability Brown, the famous architect gardener of the 1700s, it was mentioned in one of my previous videos, actually did the landscaping for Gatton Park, and actually it was meant to be one of his finest works. So as we wander through the park, hopefully we'll get a glimpse of his visions. But we're staying on the North Downs Way at the moment, which is still part of the Pilgrims Way, and we'll head towards the Gatton Hall. That's interesting. Now the tree route is formed, obviously an old tree. Gatton Park, part of the landscape that Capability Brown had visualised. Aiming over to the school now, so hopefully we'll get a look at the school in a moment. So the school is the Royal Alexandra and Albert School. It was founded in 1758, originally the Royal Alexandra Orphanage School, but in 1949 the Royal Albert School joined the Royal Alexandra to form one big school. It is a private school. These are the Millennium Stones of Gatton Park, and I've just seen a red squirrel. I thought you couldn't have seen them in Scotland. I haven't seen them in England for years. Unless he just needs a bath and he's been rolling around in some red mud. Well, interesting building, as that is actually the chapel. I've been to quite a few private schools because my son went to one, and they all had decent chapels and churches on site. This is, I won't exactly say, the most glamorous chapel I've seen. It seems they've got two churches, so that was the chapel we passed. This looks more like church. We're going to try and head down to Gatton Hall. Now, just seen there's a spire there. They've actually got a better church. I'll take it back about having decent churches. I believe that's the Church of St Andrews. A little bit wet at the minute. There's a memorial here. I would have thought this is the main entrance for Gatton Hall. Anyway, we're going to get on. As you can see, it is raining cats and dogs. Anyone for polo? Well, it's a bit better for playing today. This is the thatched lodge house of Gatton Park. So we're exiting this and heading into Merstham. So at the moment we're walking down Quality Street. So Quality Street is famous for where the Quality Street chocolates were named after the street. So the quaint cottages, the ones to my left, and moving back up. Quality Street chocolates was made after the release of a 1936 film by the same name, Quality Street. And the reason why it was called that is the lead actor and actress lived in this property here, which is the old forge. Now this building is English heritage now. It's a building of national interest. I believe it's about 1700s it was built. Also across the road, the cottage on the left of these two, that's also a building of national interest. I actually think that one was built about 1650. Now originally the Quality Street chocolates did have some buildings, a street on their packaging. Although that's gone now, still is called Quality Street. The buildings were depicted from this street alone. So as we head past the old fort, we're going to head up to Merstham Church. Anyway, noise that you're approaching now, we're going to cross the M25. The M25 is a London circular route. Obviously it goes around Greater London, one of the busiest roads in the UK. So we are outside the old rectory of Merstham Church. Just spoke to a couple and they live next door. Their house is up for sale with Hamptons. I have to have a look on Google to find out how much it's worth. Not that I'm going to be putting an offer in, that's for sure. Anyway, we're going to walk down to the Merstham Church now, which has got some interesting connections to Thomas Becket. Now the church dates back to the 13th century, as the Archbishop of Canterbury is actually the patron of the church. But it does, or did have, a painting inside of 4 knights with swords drawn standing over Thomas Becket just before he was murdered. Path upwards is made of flint. One of the luxury houses that's 30 miles outside of London, and across the road is even bigger. Not something you see every day, a steamroller going past a large property, or maybe you do. I'm sure the Pilgrims didn't back in the day. Although I believe I'm a Pilgrim, modern Pilgrim. And just up the road from the big posh houses, there's this one that's desperate need of some care. Even that vehicle looks like it's been there several years. And then on the right hand side of it, that's even rustier. I can't remember if this is a Saxon or not. Well, the noise above me is nothing like the noise of going over the M25, where I'm going under the M23. On the horizon line, just before it starts raining, as it is already, but it is London, about 30 miles away. See quite a lot of tall buildings. I'm not sure which one's shod. is the tallest building in London. But you can see a spire, which would be the Shard. So we've just reached the edge of Chaldron, as it says on the sign, from 1086. Now the church is quite famous for it's got a wall painting in there. It seems to be of the devil and other things. So the problem is it's a couple of miles away from here, so it's not actually on the North Downs Way, so we won't be going there today. As we walk along this track, which is called the Pilgrims Lane, on our left is a couple of masts that are behind the trees. But in a moment we should come past our clearest view of London. And the sun is coming out again, so I'm hoping I'm going to get a nice clear view once we get to the opening. Right, Lock Gate looks like it's from something from Alfred Hitchcock. Roverdene. So this is Wiley Park Farm. It was built in 1665. So looking across the landscape now, we can see London, and I believe this is the clearest view I'm going to be able to see as I walk along this ridgeline. And then looking across the horizon line, we can see London city. And about centre of the picture now is probably about with Parliament, Whitehall, Downing Street, and then obviously it extends over Greater London. Anyway, we continue along. We're heading towards Winders Hill, as well as a couple other hills. Gravelly Hill, Pilgrims Fort, which is about 3 kilometres away. And just looking behind me, we notice 2 helicopters. It's a wonder what you see on the Pilgrims Way. So there's an old helicopter, I think it's oh no, that's an aircraft. So that's a light aircraft. You can see the yellow bit where the wing would have gone. That's probably about 6-seater. And then in front we have a helicopter. Interesting things as we continue along the Pilgrims Way. This is the Harrow, once 2 cottages, built in the 16th century and was the Home Guard headquarters during World War II, when the ridge was thought to need defending during an invasion. Now a pub, and this is the highest pub on the Pilgrims Way. So now we continue on Warcoppish Road. Whitehill Tower, looking like an abandoned church, is a folly built in 1862 by a farmer, the farmer Jedediah Long, in memory of his son. From the top he wanted to be able to see the sea. This is Gravelly Hill and a viewpoint. Although there's quite a few trees in the way, so you're not going to view much. You can see the M23. Amongst these trees, further up the hill, is the Pilgrims Fort, also known as Foster Down Fort. It was built in 1890 and it was part of the London defence line of 15 fortresses. The land it's on is actually up for sale with the house, which is, as I say, Foster Down Fort. The reason why it was called the Pilgrims Fort is basically because we're on the Pilgrims Way. Next we're heading up towards Winders Hill. A bit noisy, but we're just passing the A22. No signpost here, but you need to turn left. So it's a half left onto the North Downs Way from here. So don't go down the hill. Take this half left and continue along the way. And that's I'm surprised that there's no sign, because every time I've had to change direction there has been a signpost. So that's just one to watch out. 1.5 kilometres to go until we split away from the North Downs Way and stick to the original route of the Pilgrims Way. So we're back to a signposted route, which is great. Now I just noticed on here, if you wanted to take a diversion, there is a vineyard, Godstone Vineyard, welcomes walkers. If you want to go and have a quick tipple, then this is the place to go. They did say lightning, thunder and flash floods. I've still got about 9 miles to do today, so it looks like we're going to get a bit wet. We're heading up the lane now, past Winders Hill Cottages, up to Winders Hill itself. Now we have Devil's Hole on our left. It was an old quarry a long time ago. As I mentioned a moment ago about the vineyard, in front of me is the vineyard. It is the Godstone Vineyard, English sparkling wine, and it was established in 1985. As you can see, the black clouds are coming over. It is spotting the rain. It is getting a bit breezy. They did say storms coming, so best get cracking, because otherwise I'm going to be one wet puppy. So we've just reached the lodge house of Woldingham School, and it's beyond here. Okay, so we've just reached Hanging Wood Forest, and we're going to continue on this road for the next about 2 kilometres, which is this is the official Pilgrims Way. The North Downs Way is the footpath to the left, and we are in Woldingham, related to the school. Quaint little cottage, well, quite big cottage. The area down there is the town is Oxted, and then heading down towards M25. It's a bit on the slippery side when it's wet. Hopefully I'm going the right way, because I don't want to be going back all up these steps again. Must be getting on for 100 of them, possibly more. Seems we might be on top of a tunnel, as that is a rail track going straight and straight line, and we are directly in its line, so I presume it must be underneath us. Hey, down the steps, and looking back up, there's a few steps. One pilgrim to another. We're both carrying our houses on our backs. Although this guy's a big lad. There's a whole party of these big snails here, all the same colour. 2 there. 1 there. 1 here. If you want snails to eat, this is the place to come. 5. I'll show you 6. 7. Any more for any more? So just perched in by the edge of the footpath, amongst the trees is this plaque, as it says, marks the point where the North Downs Way and the Vanguard Way cross the Greenwich Meridian Line. And it's the Titsy Foundation, either direction. And a piece of chalk as we're walking along the chalk storm. Right, anyway, we keep plodding on. We're walking on some like chalk here. It's got a surface to walk on. The Pilgrims would have been proud if this was there back in 1100s. It's almost as good as walking on a road. I'm taking it by the look of it that that's probably either a fox or a badger hole. But by the look of it, it's big enough to put a crocodile in. It's got to be, well, maybe not a crocodile, but it's got to be at least 18 inches across. So we've just arrived at Titsey Place, or Titsey Park. This is a Titsey Foundation walk, as it says there. This is the lodge house to the hall. So you've got Titsey Hall. The whole area around this area is named after Titsey Park, Titsey Hall, Titsey Place. And also we're heading down now to an ancient Roman site. We're going to be just down on our left in a moment. We'll be aware of the bull, it says there, and there's the bull. So I'm not going that way. So I've been talking to a lot of people along the way. Problem being it's nearly dark and I've still got 4 miles to walk. And it's quite a lot of woodland walk as well, so get the overhead torch out. As we're on the edge of Titsey Park, this is probably one of the entrance buildings to the park. You can see there an old driveway that's been grown over. There's no room 13. So thanks for watching day 5 of the Pilgrims Way. Well, hopefully you enjoyed it. I thoroughly did. Tomorrow, our next episode, we're heading up to Rochester. And again, we're going to walk past a few interesting places tomorrow. So hopefully keep with us and we'll complete the journey together. So until then, take care, look after yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye, hikers.